Welcome back to Whoopsie Daisy Farm. As I mentioned in our last farm update, May was insane, and today you finally get to learn why. It started off with an incredibly unnerving storm in which we had the promised rain, thunder, and lightning, but then straight winds were thrown in as a surprise.
What'd you do?
Kyle was out in the storm when it happened, and we weren't sure if it was a tornado, as we heard a lot of crashing and just horrible sounds. The crashing turned out to be several large tree limbs falling in our front yard, the ram barn lot, and on top of the barn, and narrowly missing the ewes barn.
You all eat the poison ivy for me, please?
It was really poor timing on Mother Nature's part because Kyle had just switched to night shift, and we were also getting ready to leave town to attend the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, where I was a featured author. But we were able to patch things up, and our farm sitter assured us that he had things under control, so we went on the trip as planned. Maryland Sheep and Wool is one of, if not the, largest wool festivals in the country. If you get the chance to attend, I highly recommend it. My favorite spot was, of course, the livestock barn. And chatting with other shepherds, seeing different breeds, and swapping animal husbandry trips was so fun. But the amount of creativity displayed in the other barns and sheds was phenomenal. There wasn't just yarn there. There was almost every thinkable trinket and tool for processing wool and giving decorative odes to sheep. These events are also great for networking and building your community, and I was so happy to meet other people passionate about sheep and sustainable farming and fabric. While in Maryland, we were able to see my friend and publisher Janet, and it's always wonderful to see how other shepherds set up their farm and get ideas on how to improve our own.
Hey, you're pretty.
Upon coming home, we were in full milking mode. Each year we realized that we need a better setup for combining rotational grazing with milking, and each year we banter ideas around but haven't quite figured out what that method is or what to try to utilize.
Ziva, come here.
Come on.
So there is a daily migration of sheep from their paddocks back to the barn where we have our milking set up, and it can go really well when they still have plenty to eat, and it can go rather terribly when they have eaten all their favorite treats down in the paddocks and they want fresh pasture. The combination of having an active toddler and Kyle being on night shift has prohibited us from rotating the paddocks as often as we would like to or as recommended. On our property with our hard clayed soil, Moving fence lines is really a two-person job, or it takes over an hour. And Kyle being on night shift, he just didn't have hours to spare, and neither did I. So our pasture and paddock management this spring has definitely fallen under do as I say and definitely not as I do. Keeping sheep in the same paddock for too long results in higher parasite loads, which can be fatal. We've kept those at bay so far with herbs, homeopathy, minerals, and other alternative medicine tactics, which I do outline in my book, The Guide to Homestead Dairy Sheep. But with how wet this year has been, the sheep's hoof health has really not done well in all the sogginess that feeding hay continuously makes in their lots. But life happens, and circumstances sometimes dictate that we don't operate under idealism. So we just carefully monitored their hooves, and while they did struggle, they ended up being okay until we could get them back out on pasture.
Everyone just needs their hoofs trimmed.
Okay.
Everybody needs to get out of
The bog.
wet, soggy.
Despite animal husbandry challenges, our year continued to move forward, and before we knew it, the ram lambs were 3 months old, and it was time to completely separate them from their
Daisy right
mamas.
next to you.
This is Eustace.
Oh, that's Eustace. Never mind.
Who now apparently has horns.
Yeah,
This is
Daisy.
Daisy.
That's Wendell.
That's Wendell.
The boys are all hiding. Okay, what about Sue's ram lamb right here?
Who are you?
That's
Ram lambs can
Agnes.
become reproductively viable at 3 months old, so to avoid any kind of Oedipus complex, they are taken off their mothers. We will leave the ewe lambs on for a bit longer for both their own health and the convenience for us of continuing lamb sharing. With the ram lambs taken off their mothers, we were getting about 1.5 gallons of milk per day from 6 ewes, and I was able to dive headfirst into cheese making.
And they've never even left. You're like, oh, I'm far across the sea.
I have wanted to get into it for a couple of years, but writing a book and having a baby pushed learning to make cheese back until this year. We are really enjoying the process of cheese making, cheese aging, and cheese eating, and I'm starting to compile recipes and form an outline for my next book, which will be on sheep cookery, both for milk and meat, and also some recipes that I use for the sheep themselves, like herbal remedies and that kind of thing.
Very nice.
I do not have any kind of contract with my publisher yet or publishing date yet, so until my book comes out, I really recommend this book by Deborah Amron Boys for sheep milk cheese recipes. It's really good. Milking and weaning this May presented some challenges with the offspring. Hazel is the first calf we have ever had born on our farm, so this is the first time we've ever calf shared or weaned a baby cow. The lambs are a lot lower maintenance when weaning, as they are smaller and we can get away with flimsier or cheaper fencing. The lambs are so docile that we can make paddocks with the lambs directly next to their mothers in the electronet, and there isn't any concern of lambs jumping fences or breaking through them or getting to the milk. They just chill where we put them, and then we reunite after milking and separate them in the mornings. It helps if you bribe the lambs and sheep with feed so they are all gathered in one spot and you can just grab the lambs before they realize what is happening and put them in the paddock you want.
Are you falling?
I'll explain more later in this video about how drastically different that is from a cow, but suffice it to say we learned the hard way this month that our weaning protocols for sheep do not directly translate to cows.
What do you think? It's okay.
Speaking of babies growing up, Nat turned 2 on the 18th of May, and it was remarkable to watch the difference of him turning 2 when compared to turning 1. He is in full-fledged boy mode, farm style.
I'll take that.
Yep. Good job, Bug.
It is a hard balance we are trying to find between encouraging his involvement and bringing him along with us when we do chores and care for animals, and allowing him to help so he can learn, and then actually getting things done in a timely manner.
I see that. Hey. Up. Turn. Go this way.
I sort of feel a constant tug of war between wanting to be an excellent mama and teaching Nat and letting him get into all the things, and wanting to be an excellent farmer and doing the things well and right according to me the first time. It's a balance, and one we will probably always be struggling to find.
There you go, sheep.
But it makes for phenomenal memories. Our goose venture continues to be riddled with tragedy. We lost all but one gosling before we realized we needed to be treating them for coccidia. We almost lost the last one, but I was able to treat it in time. Geese are known for being hardy, but I am learning that this is really only once they're full grown. When they're young, they need a little babying until their immune system is fully developed, and that includes protecting them from microbes and parasites. I am hopeful now that we have this knowledge that next year's goslings will survive and we can finally harvest some tasty goose meat. Goose is actually our favorite poultry meat to eat, and it is wonderful when you cure it and make goose breast prosciutto.
You buckled your chin strap?
Yes, the ultimate sign of safety precaution.
Good.
Buckle your chin strap.
Good.
Yes. Slow the nose, tighten the belt.
We finally had a little breathing room, and so began doing branch cleanup from all the storm damage at the beginning of the month. It was a little more involved than we originally thought. Kyle was able to chop down and pull down the huge branches from off the barns.
Want me to go around now?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to cut those down there too. Around like this. This. There you go. Good job. Yay, you did it. Good.
Yep. There she blows!
Then later in the month during shearing, a friend came with his chainsaw and cut up the branches into manageable sizes.
Yep, the rain knocked down the tree branch.
As you can see, there was a little bit of damage to the barns, and we'll be able to patch it before winter, but for now it just has a little bit more ventilation than it did before the storm.
Say good job, boys. More? You wanna go get some more? Okay, let's go get some more.
We'll use the wood for either firewood, or I have some fledgling thoughts of using these branches to use
They fell out.
as edging for raised garden
There you
beds
go.
for a future veggie garden, but we'll see. For now, they are just laying where they were cut until things slow down and we can finish cleaning up.
What are you doing?
The month ended with a terrifying accident involving Hazel. She is okay, but we realized we needed to take her to a different farm for a while to help further the weaning process and also to buy us some time for us to change our fencing system the cows were in.
Nice, Hazel.
We needed to change it from sheep-centric to more cow-appropriate.
She's leading very well.
Yes, when she's going back to mom, she's doing very well.
It taught us a lot, and we are incredibly grateful to our local homestead community for helping us find a vet when ours was unavailable, finding a trailer to rent, and for a very good friend offering to take her for several weeks until we had our infrastructure ironed out. Our thought with Hazel is to keep her as a replacement cow as Chestnut is getting older. Keeping Chestnut's body condition has grown a little challenging and she's showing other signs of age. I don't think she's ready to keel over or anything, but it's wise to be thinking of the future in large animals with slower turnaround like cows. Jerseys typically breed between 1.5 years and 2 and then gestate for 9 months, so Hazel becoming a milk cow is at least 3 years down the road. for future calves from Chestnut, I don't think we'll keep them past 6 months, at least until we can invest in much more elegant fencing. We just don't have the property or infrastructure to manage them well, along with everything else we're doing. The experience once again struck home that while the general rule is to follow certain models of animal husbandry, such as rotational grazing, there are times in an animal's life when keeping them in confinement is appropriate and can even be better than other models. Obviously, we don't want to build a confinement operation or keep critters in confinement long term, but in the case of cow weaning, if I had to do it over again, I would have built a corral made of cattle panels that was new and had few if any risk factors, such as the cow escaping. This will also serve us when we travel out of town and will be one less thing our farm help has to manage or think about. When homesteading, it's important to constantly reevaluate your systems and ventures and evaluate if they are serving you and the whole farm well, or if they need tweaked, changed, or eliminated.
You want a sip?
Once the cow drama settled down, it was time for shearing the sheep. We hire a shearer to come and get the whole flock done at one time.
He doesn't want the Mama, huggy. Mama, huggy. Mama, huggy.
We'll get a system on here. Yep.
You're naked.
I can shear my sheep, but it's more time effective to pay someone else to do it and have the whole flock done before the weather gets too hot, and he's much faster. I typically take about 2 hours to shear my sheep per sheep, and he can get one sheep done in 5 minutes. So we pay him to do it. We're slowly turning it into an event for friends to come help and learn and get scrap wool for their gardens, and I don't know if we'll ever turn it into an educational event for the public, but we've bounced the idea around a couple times.
Sam, what's this?
Then that would make because my hands are very big.
Yeah.
Twist it up.
Don't know. I'll have to.
Get out of the shearing. See, isn't this lovely?
And with shearing, that was the month. It was busy and rather intense, but we survived to tell the tale. June was quite a bit more chill. For that, I'm very thankful. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.